What's up, everyone? It's your man, LD Larry Dawson, and we're back for another episode of the Be the Best You podcast. Today, I got Matt Beahn here with me. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's up, dude? I appreciate you having me here.
Absolutely.
Homie.
So, another guy that came to the beach and made a successful business, a successful entrepreneur, a success of himself. Explain to us who you are, what you have going on, and where you at these days.
Well, my name's Matt Beahn, as Larry just said. I am the owner of Cool Beahns Heating and Air. I grew up in the area, local. Put this thing together about 7 years ago, man. We're in our 7th year, and if somebody would have told me that back then, I wouldn't have believed it, because just the process, man, the small things that you overlook when they're happening. Well, when you take time to really look back at those small things, man, you realize those small pieces were the foundation to get you where you're going to the next step, dude.
So, you came down to the beach when you were younger, correct?
Yeah. I'm originally from Worcester, Massachusetts. I'm a masshole.
How old were you when you first came down to the beach?
I was 4. So I moved down here in 1990 with my mom, my older brother. Grew up through, going all the schools locally, grew up on the beach, which is always fun for a young man going through certain changes, if you know what I mean. But yeah, man, so it's a lot of interacting, and Myrtle Beach is one of the biggest, littlest places that you can be.
I've heard that said before. I've heard it's the biggest small town there is.
Yeah, man, it is, dude. Because it seems a lot bigger than what it is, because you have the tourists. They come in, they leave. They come in, they leave. But eventually you realize that there is a base core, like, nucleus of Myrtle Beach locals, and it's really easy to network here, just by friendships, by passings, and it's been a huge blessing in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. So where'd you go to high school at?
Socastee High School.
Oh, same place I went to high school.
Oh, there you go, man.
We're not going to talk about that because I'm a little bit older than you.
Man, come on, dog. Like I said, man, you're over here aging like wine, and I'm aging like milk. I'll do nothing of it, dog.
Well, I'm trying to hold on to that youth, man. I'm trying. I might hit the gym every once in a while.
Yeah, man, that's all you can do. You can hit the gym, and it's all about perspective as well. I mean, these things don't just come up out of nowhere. You're only as old as you feel. No, man, it's about taking care of your body when you're a little bit younger. I mean, you can hope, but it doesn't mean it's too late just because you're a certain age.
You never slow down, you never grow old.
There you go, homie. I'll take it.
I'm going to get Jason on my workout plan when I come back down next week.
Yeah.
We're going to go hit the gym.
Man, get that protein, dog. Do it. Get big.
We're going to put that work in. So tell us about your transformation from a youth in this area to a business owner in this area, and some of what you went through to get to that point.
Oh, man. So for me personally, looking back, everything always seems a lot different looking back, but when you're going through it, it seems normal. But for me, looking back, man, there were so many trials, tribulations that I had to go through just trying to transfer from youth to adult. Especially, for me personally, I came from a little bit of a weird upbringing, in Myrtle Beach, and you said you went to Socastee. It would have been around the same time. Myrtle Beach really exploded when I was younger as being...
I might have went there about 10 years before.
But it went through, I've even heard you refer to it before on, podcasts I've listened to of yours, man, about, the Oxycontin epidemic, however you want to state it, man. And, that epidemic, that hit my home, and so... Yeah, I mean, I love my parents. They're no longer with us. Eventually their decisions caught up with them. And that sounds very harsh. And I even had a little, some reservations even sharing that, just because I never want to feel like I dishonor, my parents, but at the same time, I've got to speak my truth. Mm-hmm. And I think for a long time growing up as a youth, I didn't speak my truth. I just shut down. just because it was easier to hide pain than ever have to step into it and take care of it.
Man, that's so true. I've just had a really long talk with one of my daughters about this exact thing. And, you know, we all, no matter where you've been or what you've been through, hold on to stuff, live through stuff, think about stuff. And we had a very deep conversation about this, about my transformation and some of the steps that I took.
Yeah.
And her mindset of things that she feels like, you know, is her journey that she needs to work through. And I'm going to leave that because that's her journey. But we all, no matter where you come from, no matter what walk of life, we all have our things that we need to work through. And you have to live in your truth. You have to be honest. You can't run from it. You cannot suppress feelings or emotions. You have to work through those. And then when you work through those, it allows you to release those, accept those, and move forward.
Dude, that's, you know, if everyone, you know, if you're listening right now or watching, go ahead and pause that and really digest what he just said, because what he just summed up in about 10 seconds has taken me 10 to 15 years. Like, you know, that's been a part of my journey, you know, and for me, you know, and I'm a huge advocate for mental health, man. It has changed me. I have a really strong base in my faith, but, you know, something that is for me is I believe that you can be open-minded to the fact of therapy and theology. You know, God created, you know, those things to help us. You know, I even when I read, you know, when I take time for myself when I'm reading, you know, if I'm in the Bible, you know, I stumbled upon something that said, you know, God, you know, he's a peace beyond understanding. I'm sure that has so many different layers to it, but as soon as it jumped out to me, because one thing about me is when someone's talking to me or, you know, anything like that, I'm seeing pictures in my head. I'm listening, but dude, everything you're saying is like a movie playing. So when I'm reading, it does the same thing for me. So when he said that, I took it quite literal. It was a peace beyond understanding, because that type of science, I said faith and science in the same sentence again. You know, that type of science, dog, like it hadn't even been thought of yet. So realistically what it is, you know, kind of throwing your hands up, stepping into truth. I believe Jesus, the truth, that's for me. But when I step into that truth, it gives me a peace beyond all understanding, because I know no matter what happens, how it happens, that I have something to fall back on.
You know, my last podcast episode, I had Phil Jackson on.
Okay.
And I had just spoke about, I personally believe that, and me and you actually talked about this the other day.
We did.
That you have to have your mind, your body, and your soul.
The trifecta.
So if my mental energy isn't right, it doesn't matter if my other two are right. I'm not going to be right. If my physical is off, the other ones are going to be off. If my spiritual being, because I'm very big into the universe and energy, and what you put out is what you receive, whether that's negative or positive. That's why I'm very, very careful to put out nothing but positive energy. I rebuke negative energy. And even sometimes, last night I was having a deep conversation with my wife and a good friend of mine, David. And we was talking about how when I bring a new customer on, I promise a certain level of success. And so my wife is big in the corporate world, and my wife has the mindset of you should under promise and over deliver. I don't. And I'm going to tell you why I don't. I believe this with all of my being, and you can't make me believe in it. I'm not saying that she's wrong from a strategic or business standpoint.
Understand.
What I'm saying is we all have, like you just said, we all fall back on our faith. So here is my faith. I believe 100% in the power of the law of attraction. I don't allow negative thoughts like that to enter my mind. And I think positive, and I speak positive, and I manifest positive. So I'm never going to approach a customer and be like, yeah, I think I could do all right for you, but I might not be able to do this. Because the moment I start doing that, I'm thinking about it, and now I'm speaking it, and now that's what's going to probably end up happening. So I rebuke that conversation. I rebuke those thoughts. I won't even let that in.
Yeah.
I will succeed.
Mm-hmm.
I will do good, and I will make these things happen for you. And if I have to come down and physically make it happen, that's who I am as a human being. That's what I will do. I have never failed anybody. Since I turned my life around and I started my journey, I have not failed anybody. I've not failed myself. I have not failed. I'm not saying that we don't fail. When I make my mind up to do something, I succeed. I am a winner. I rebuke and I refuse to lose. And even when I take a sidestep, I'm not losing. It's a lesson. I'm learning a lesson that will make me better.
Dude, not even just that, but dog, like, failure. Dude, everyone's so worried about failing. I've had those times. I'm not knocking anyone because we all are at different, parts of our journey. But realistically, failure, like, what is that? You just said, it's, you've learned something. So actually, when you actually start over and you're starting again, you have something you didn't have last time experience. You know what I'm talking about? So, why fail, man? You're gonna miss 100% of the shots you never take. I'd rather toss them up and, risk making a couple. See, the risk isn't missing. The risk is never taking the shot. I'd rather risk taking that shot, dog.
Preach.
I'm telling you, man. And how you said about the energy in the universe, and and it just because we're different. Look at us. We're not even fighting right now. We're not even arguing because so much of what you're saying is so similar to where I'm at. But I can also hear and receive from you, and just know, okay, yes, for me, I speak in faith. A lot of times I have to, man, because if I don't, I can lose belief in myself if I don't, if I allow negative things. If I listen to everybody else, statistically, I should have either been dead or in prison, because I come from a broken home. I come from a family that was, they had their demons. They battled addiction. I was off and on, homeless from like 13 to 19. I mean, I didn't really have much guidance. I had my older brother, I had friends, I had these things, but I stayed positive because it's all I knew to do. And eventually I developed a sense of humor that could take something, really crazy, and find something in it to be happy about, to joke about. Now, what I didn't know as well with that was, as I was doing that, I was still never taking care of the things I was pushing down, because I really had to lift up from inside of me to make humor, because I found that if I can make someone else laugh, that brought me, a feeling that I didn't have for myself. But realistically, what I found was happiness is a feeling that can come and go. Joy is a decision. And if you really think about that, that means every single day. That means when you wake up and the phone's not ringing, when you wake up and you do get those alerts from the electric company, from the water company, from mortgage, hey, this is past due. Choose joy. And, for what you say, you put it out, it comes back. For me, I put my faith and my joy in the Lord, and quite frankly, He's never failed me yet. I went from being homeless without anything to sitting on a podcast talking about being successful. It's like, bro, like it's mind-boggling. It makes no sense. And I understand I'm not just trying to be humble, but if you knew, if you were there in the middle, if you were there right before that, it doesn't make sense. Like I used to avoid work. I used to quite literally avoid, a little juke and spin move or something around some hard work, dog. But then, to be honest, man, I started finding value in myself, but it was through my wife, because I finally had someone else that saw value in me. And as soon as I could believe it and choose that joy, I was able to step into a calling I didn't even know I had.
The journey, it's a beautiful thing. Evolution. It's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the Be the Best You podcast.
Yeah.
I actually had several people that was brought to me because we had locked Phil in to do an interview when I was down here for this trip. And then I had a couple people suggested to me, a couple people was brought to me, a couple prospects I thought about interviewing. And I remember looking at my wife and was like, I'm going to interview Matt Beahn. And she was like, from Cool Beahns? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, all right, any particular reason? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I like his journey.
Man,
I
like
like his story. And I was like, I like who he is as a person. and I appreciate what he has to offer. And I think that he would be great to have on the Be the Best You podcast. But I think it would be great for people watching and listening to hear his story and to just, hear the things he has to say. I know where you came from, man, because I came from that same place. And
It can be deep.
Yeah, really deep. And what's funny is, here's the difference between someone that actually overcomes versus someone that fakes the funk of overcoming.
Yeah.
So when you fake the funk of overcoming, you could be our age and never really fulfilling your potential.
No.
You could be a shell of yourself. You could be someone that drinks a lot, someone that does drugs a lot, someone that has unfulfilled potential, someone that still has things that eats at them and haunts them. They still haven't taken all the steps to be the best version of themselves. There's still things in their life at our age that they're working, trying to get right, that they should be. The reason that you can sit here and talk the way that you're talking, and I can talk the way that I talk, is because those things from our past, they're just a memory at this point.
Yeah.
Sometimes this is how crazy it is. I literally have a hard time recalling some of those things. That's how far past and removed from it I am. And I wish that I could just reach inside of me, give this to other people that can't get rid of it and can't move on and can't be the best version of themselves, so they could be. I can talk to them, but I can't make them want it.
Nope.
You ever seen the movie A Bronx Tale?
Yeah.
The guy that played Sonny in it, I watched him on a real life interview recently, and he said, let me tell you something I've learned about this world and life in my 63 years on earth. He said, a person that's up can never pull a person that's down up. Because no matter how hard you try, that person won't come up until they make the decision to come up.
Yeah.
He said, but watch this. A person that's down can pull a person that's up pretty easily. Because you can pull someone down into the mud pretty quickly. Because you couple those side steps, boom, you're right down there with them.
Well, it's easy to do because it takes no effort to pull someone down because you're dead weight anyways, though. I'm not, you don't even have to put forth effort. You just got to be who you've been. And you're not looking for change. You're not looking for evolution. You're not looking for anything better. So you'd rather bring down what you can't explain. I mean, isn't that fear in general?
Yeah.
Fear is simply what we don't understand. So we fear it, and so when we see someone successful, and dude, even that in itself, what is success? I mean, what is it? Some people may want a large house. Some people want, this for that. And for me, being the person who's been the guy yanking someone down and trying to pull people up, dude, I had to eventually step back and realize that my success is, I am blessed, dude. I've got a small business. I own a home. I have a smoking hot wife. She can be testy. But also.
I won't tell her you said that.
No, I ain't gonna tell anybody. Blink twice if you need help. No, I'm joking. But man, I have 3 kids, man, and I have 3 kids that will never. They may hear it one day when they're ready to hear it, but they will never experience what I had to experience. And that doesn't mean I will remove them from hard work or hurt. Because I think that sometimes people like us can do, is we can make this oath to ourselves. My kids will never have to work hard. My kids will never. And for me, I'm polar opposite. No, I'm not saying they will never ever have to work hard. They will never experience this. But where me and you were starting out in this sinking sand, they have a foundation to stand on, to figure it out, to fail. Because if my kids don't fail, then I think I'd be more upset than if they were just successful. What is success? And my success is knowing that I broke a generational curse that will never show up in my bloodline ever again.
Man, what's really cool is I was just sitting here, I was listening to what you were saying, and then a thought came across me is that when I came up with the Be the Best You podcast, I wanted to highlight people that had really cool stories.
Yeah.
I wanted to highlight business owners and entrepreneurs and, people that had overcome. And I wanted to tell really cool stories and show people real life human experiences, right? So
we talked about like the loss versus the lesson. Mm-hmm. There's been a few times where I've brought people on and been doing the interview, and it was like boom, 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 structured business.
Yeah.
Right. So I have a list of questions. I sent you some questions. Hey man, I want to ask you a certain type of questions. And I had these things for that. But like, we haven't even dove into the questions because we're talking about real life stuff.
Yeah, man.
And so I'll just give you an example. One time I brought a relationship coach on. Okay. Right. Did the interview with her. And much respect to her for coming on my show and doing an interview, but it was like boom, 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 very structured, right? I actually went about 2 months later. I got a new relationship coach and brought them on, and the whole podcast, the whole interview was a completely different vibe, like salt of the earth type of vibe, really good interview. And same thing. Like I've had the experience where I've done it with one doctor, and then brought another doctor. It's completely different vibe. I really respect the real genuineness of this because in the world we live in today, there's a lot of manufactured fake stuff. We need more of the real stuff because people that are watching or listening, we could give them fake. We could give them some Instagram bullshit that's shiny and pretty to make them think a certain way. I could have had so-and-so on here and he could have said, I pulled up in my Ferrari and I'm going to my, $2.5 million house down the road stuff. And people might want that, but a lot of people can't relate to that. But what they can relate to is they can relate to a man that has a business, that works, that raised a family, that has a wife that he cares about, the home that he paid for, and is out there doing his thing. And I appreciate that. And so on my journey, I remember when I first came home, and I remember I'll look at myself in a certain way. Yeah. I don't give a damn what I have. I still look at me a certain way. Yeah. The moment I came home and I started working and doing stuff, trying to build to what I am, I was working 3 jobs and sleeping in the trunk of my car. When I was doing that, I looked at myself the same way I look at myself now. Yeah. Right? So now what do we got? Now we got condos all over the place. Yeah. We got boats all over the place. We got nice, expensive, fancy cars, a big, beautiful home, the most amazing wife I could ever ask for or dream of, beautiful family. But guess what? Literally, go find someone that was around me 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. You know what they're gonna say? He literally exactly the same. Yeah. Like, who are you as a person? Yeah, man. Right? So what do you stand for? Like, what's life all about? No matter what you have, what you do, your peace and who you are is in here.
Yeah, man.
This is where your peace and who you are is right here. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. I think a lot of people are searching and and don't grasp, what life is actually about. I wish I could just sit everybody down. Now, I won't say everybody, because there's people that are into it.
They're in the process right now. I'm in the process right now, dog. Like, I don't ever want to speak as if I'm the finished product, man. If I'm the finished product right now, the rest of my life is going to be so boring and miserable, man. My finished product is when I don't even want to say when they put me on the ground and in the ground, man, because quite frankly, like, I want save money, dude. Just toss me in the woods when I'm gone, man. I mean, that's just a show, homie.
If he smells, just kick some dirt on him.
Yeah, there you go. Just toss some leaves over and put a rug over him. It's fine. But that's real, man. And something I want. So again, I have pictures. As soon as you're talking about, someone coming on here or listening, that $2.5 million house or that Lamborghini, man, dude. Social media, like, I love it. Like, I do love it. Like, some people would say it's a means to an end. That's understandable. For me, I love it, man, because I love verbal affirmation. Dude, I love affirming because, and most, we can circle around because you probably have more wisdom in the area of what it actually is. I think the reason why I love verbal affirmation and putting it out there is because it's what I needed. So I love putting out what I need. You know what I mean? At times. So I had to, but dude, social media will mess you up because people will sit at home and maybe they see, I got a new truck or I got a new this. And, oh man, he's got it together, man. And it's like, realistically, if you knew that all you're doing right now is comparing your blooper reel to my highlight reel, dog, it's, if you saw my blooper reel, if you saw my trips and stumbles, if you saw the heartaches, the lies, I was the worst kind of person. I'm not saying I'm the greatest either, but I know I'm not done yet. And part of that, man, is like, my surroundings is when I was a youth, but I used to use that as a crutch for a long time. Man, I had it rough. Man, I had it this, I had it that, for a long time, especially as a younger man. It's not like I'm old by no means, but as a younger man, like, dude, like, I would, I heard this old redneck, man. He's like, you'd rather climb a tree to tell a lie than stand here and tell the truth. I was this close because I hid everything. This close that if somebody actually poked and prodded to see what, why this guy who's always funny, if they even poked it one time, the real stuff would have burst out. I wasn't ready to share that, man.
I wish I could sit everybody down. I could get everybody together. I can sit everybody down and I could just be like, listen, man, the best piece of advice that I could ever give any of you is to know yourself, to be honest with yourself, to love yourself, to forgive yourself, to understand yourself, and to not care what anybody else thinks about you. The moment you start living your life for you and stop living it for other people and worrying what other people think about you is the most freeing feeling in the world.
Amen.
Because now you're not living for anyone else or anything but your actual true self. Unfortunately, a lot of people sublease their thinking out these days, and that's just, not a good habit. And we become indoctrinated by, our teachers and social media and our parents and news and people around us, that sometimes the things that we fight for and argue and think that we like or we're supporting is not even actually our own thoughts or beliefs. We've been indoctrinated to think these things, and we have adopted these ideas as if they were our own. And we will fight to hold on to these silly little ideas that were basically planted in our brain.
Yeah, man.
So I wish I could tell everybody to see through that, see through the optical illusion and see into reality. And so I just said planted, and I'm going to touch on a conversation me and you had the other day.
I can't. Fired up, Larry.
Well, I can't let this one go. You said to me the other day when we was talking that someone said, a preacher said to you that being buried and being planted look identical.
They do.
But tell us the difference.
So it's not even, it's perspective. Perspective is the difference. So when you've been buried, man, that means you're done, you're gone, you're used up. Everything that was in you has been removed from you. Your gifts, your calling, the love, the anger, the energy, the whatever you want to call, all of it's been released. And now all that's left is a container. When they put that in the ground and they bury you, it feels just like a seed being planted. I mean, if you didn't know the difference, depending on the people that are around you, your perspective, think about it. They dig a hole, they put you in the dirt, they compact it around you, it restricts you. I mean, the feeling of it's almost claustrophobic either way. And then they toss dirt on you and forget about you. Now, the seed, it has a choice. It can be a victim of its circumstance. It can just lay dormant, give up, and die along next to the buried body. But that's not what I believe God intended for us. You see, are we being buried or are we being hidden for purpose? Because the easiest time to chop down an apple tree or to kill an apple tree would be when it's a seed rather than when it's a tree. Because it takes work to cut down a tree because it's already established its roots. When you're a seed and you've been put in the ground and you've been covered in the right soil, you have no choice but to be what God created you to be. Now, see, and even the farmer who probably had more value than most other people when they see a seed, I just see a seed, it's actually annoying to me because I'm like, oh, seed, and I toss it to where this farmer, he puts it in the ground, he covers it up, he sees a seed and he sees an apple tree. Now, when God takes you and puts you in the ground and plants you so you can develop your roots, because there's a lot of transformation when nobody's looking. That's what God does. God will take you and put you in a dormant, dark place. So that way you can be approved in private. And then what you do with that approval is then you can develop. I mean, even photography, you have to have the right type of light in those dark rooms. Because if you are exposed to too much light too soon, you'll never develop into what you were actually created to be. So when God sees that seed, he sees a forest, dog. He knows that you're not just going to be an apple tree, man. He knows that you're going to develop fruit, and each one of those fruit are going to have seeds. So with me, like when I first got my vision, for what God put in my life, when I first got my vision, it was, it's almost embarrassing to admit, but I know what I saw. I know what he showed me, and I didn't understand it at the time. And it was that I was about to walk out on a stage, right? And dude, this stadium was packed full. And here I am in this suit, and I turn around, and my wife's there, and she's like, "Are you ready?" And I smile at her, and I hold up my hand to show it's not even shaking, because deep down I knew I was always created to do this. But realistically, as I've kind of come in my journey, and it's not drop my expectations, but to realize that I wasn't the biggest part of the plan, I realized that if I can even touch one seed and put in some good soil, I understand that a forest can come of that and feed generations that come.
You gave me cold chills when you was talking about some of the things you said, because you literally was talking about my life story.
Right.
And Jason should have been filming some shorts for this, because those shorts would have went viral with some of the things you just said.
Hey, man,
I hope you do cut them things.
Hey, man, I appreciate
because he just dropped some jewels.
You don't understand, like in these things that I'm saying, it sounds like I have a lot of wisdom or something, or knowledge. When I was alone, and I want to be so clear, so I don't even want to mess this up. Larry, straight up, if I'm talking to him right now, am I looking right there?
Look right there.
Look right there. I'm not telling you this as if I have it together. I'm telling you this because it's what I had to tell myself when nobody else believed. When everyone thought I was crazy, when everyone thought that I was worthless. No, God hid me away to work out what was inside of me. And I don't mean the gift and the calling that he put in my life. I mean, he had to work out some of the things I held on to that helped me survive the last season, but I couldn't hold it and bring it with me anymore because it was actually weighing me down for reaching what I need.
Ooh.
Bow, take it. Now listen, see, these things were being dropped on me, dog. These things were being dropped on me at 4 and 5 in the morning when I was waking up, and I knew I just needed to get out and walk. I needed to get that workout in. This is where that, how, you were talking about the trifecta. Dude, I couldn't believe it for myself. So I did the only thing I knew to do. I just took a step. Dude, we are all one decision, one step away from stepping into the greatest thing that could have ever happened to you. But if you're frozen, and if I wouldn't have believed this for myself, that God's telling me you were anointed, you were chosen, you were marked. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you, and I knew what you were going to go through. I didn't choose it for you, but I know what you have inside of you to conquer it and then help somebody else that's ready to go where you're going to be heading. If I didn't believe that for myself, to have the faith to take that first step, man, how am I ever going to, if I can't believe it for myself, how could I ever possibly believe it that my kids are going to stay away from drugs? If I'm going to believe some of it, you can't just believe some of it, not all of it. If I can't believe this for myself, how can I believe that my kids are different, than, the past generations?
It's funny, man. Jess, I told you this was going to be a good interview. You literally gave an analogy of my life story without even knowing my life story.
No, man.
And it's crazy because, literally step by step, I don't even need to tell it because you just told my life story.
Dude, and I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but when I get like this, when I feel this, I used to think I was crazy and I wouldn't say anything, man. Because when I was a kid, if you spoke anything that was abnormal, you were labeled abnormal. You don't want to be abnormal. There was danger in standing out when I was younger.
Yeah, and I think that there's a microwave society that we live in now that's manufactured a bunch of fake, acting and thinking as well. Yeah. And then, so I don't really think that that's changed, which goes back to what I was saying before of knowing yourself and be yourself. Obviously, I got sent away for getting in trouble and was gone for 13 years. And the very first place they dropped me was the worst prison in the state of South Carolina where nobody wants to go there, everybody's scared of, which is Lieber Correctional Institution, where death row was at. And, being there and being in those moments and stuff, I remember thinking to myself, they think I'm dead. They think they killed me.
They hoped you were.
They thought they
hoped you
they
were.
thought they sentenced me to a life sentence. I said, they don't know me like that. They don't know what I'm going to do and how I'm going to come back stronger. I trained and trained and trained and trained my mind every single day with schoolwork and with reading and with studying. I trained my body every day, and I said, when I come home, I will be stronger mentally and physically than everybody. What you said about put you in a place of cold, dark, quiet to be reborn.
Yeah.
Because what I had to be to make it through where I was at was no longer needed for where I needed to go.
Yeah.
So I needed to let that part of me die and let the new part of me be reborn so I could go tackle the new part in the second version of my life. I was tossed to the wolves as a kid.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an example, man. The other day I had some people that they're board members where I own these resorts, and they were bitching and complaining about, we can't do this because it's the master board's fault. We can't do this because it's Empress's fault. We can't do this because of blah, 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 blah. Right? So imagine going sitting in prison and thinking to yourself, man, it's not my fault in here. My dad abandoned me. My mother wasn't the best role model. I was around watching her get beaten, watching drugs and drinking. I was stabbed, I was molested, I was shot, I was beaten. I had all these things happen to me. I was passed through 13 homes. This is, instead, you know what I thought? Man, I'm going to show every one of you wrong. I'm going to show every one of you you're wrong.
Yeah.
I'll show you. I don't care what was stacked against me. I don't care what you put against me. I don't care how much dirt you throw on top of me. I'll come back stronger than ever. And when I came home, people didn't even know me. People didn't even recognize me. Didn't even recognize me.
Yeah.
They're like, people were asking, like, what happened to you?
Yeah.
Because they didn't even recognize the human being.
Yeah.
Because while they were just going through the motions of life, I was training every single day.
Yeah.
When I came home, the past me was such a distant memory.
Yeah.
I couldn't even remember that human being.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm not joking. I couldn't even remember that human being. Sometimes I could have conversations with people, like Phil was here earlier. I can't even remember the things. That's how much I've changed. Yeah. I was talking to someone recently, and there's someone that still haven't grown up. They're actually, I'm about to be 44. I think they're about to be 46 because it's about 2 years difference, right? And they were saying some things to me, and they're about like life, and they were actually talking junk. They didn't like where I'm at and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I said some things to them, and they said, "Oh, you haven't changed. You haven't do it." And I said, "Man, you're so wrong.
Yeah.
You remember a confused and lost teenager that I can't even remember."
Yeah.
I said, "I actually feel bad for you." I said, "Because your body left the trailer park, but your mind never left there."
Yeah, man.
And I said, "I really hope that you grow up and become a better version of yourself." And I said, "You should think about these things." And I said, "Unfortunately, it probably is hard for you to think that other people can change because we tend to see only things through our lens. And so you still see things through that lens of 30 years ago that you can't fathom that other people have evolved over the course of 30 years. And sitting in my shoes, it's just as baffling because in my shoes, I'm looking at them like, holy crap.
Yeah.
You haven't evolved in 30 years?
Yeah.
It's like I went back in a time machine and I'm talking to a 20-year-old again.
Yeah.
So
I feel you. Dude. And the thing is, they're threatened, and it's not threatened as in, he has success, so I'm threatened by success. No, you're threatening them because they're having to look in a mirror. Doesn't mean that they're seeing you, dog. They're not seeing you. Unfortunately, they're not seeing you for who you are because they can't see past who they are, and that's okay. And it's not too late. See, that's what sucks. That's what sucks is. I feel, I know how it's going to sound, but I feel society has given us such a false timeline of you have to start the business in your 20s. You have to buy your home. You have to be married. You have to have kids. You have to do all these things. And then by 30, you might as well mail it in and retire, man. Dude, Jeter, Derek Jeter, who, he was an old man in the game, but once he stepped out of the game into the real world, he's a young dude. So it's about, the perspective, you know what I mean? And dude, while you were talking about you having to do your time, man, when you go into a hotel room, I don't care if it's 5-star, 2-star, when you go into that hotel room, where do you put your valuables? In a safe where nobody can take it. I'm not saying that you didn't pay back for whatever it was, man. If I judge you, man, that means me and you're going to be hanging out for eternity because I've done some things too, dog. So, trust me, I'm not saying that, but so you did what you did. He can use that. You made the mistake. Yeah, he can use that too. Dude, I've lied. I've stolen. Dude, I have not been to prison. I ain't even trying to get all but dude, I had to do some jail time. My own decisions got me there. Just to be as transparent as I can be. As a child, I was molested, and this isn't a comparison thing. What I'm trying to tell you is what the enemy meant to destroy you, God will use that. So it's not even just use that. And I think part of the problem, it's not even a problem. I think the lie, because it says in Peter, the enemy, he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. I think sometimes we're so happy and ready to throw a party that we made it through the death that we don't realize that he stole the joy for us to move on. We're so excited that we got out of the place. We're so excited that we beat the system. We're so excited that we changed that we didn't realize by him, he allowed us out, but he stole the joy. So now when we bump into people, if you believe, when you were saying energies, there's a reason people say good vibes. Man, he just got some good vibes, I would even because I like to relate the two. I mean, I believe Jesus, he says, I'm the light of this world. We're the light of this world. Even light has a vibe. It quite literally has a vibe. It has hertz, and am I right? Light, it has its own. So that light that comes from the universe, that comes from heaven, that bounces all around, you made it through the terrible times that was meant to destroy you. And you think, devil, get behind me. You don't even realize you accidentally left your joy. So now the joy, which would equal light, you left it. And it wasn't just to shine light on our situation. It's not, everything happened to me and now I'm up here. No, our light needs to be bright enough because when you were in the darkness, when you know it now. When you see even a glimmer of light, it's enough to set a fire, dog. And that's all we need most times. So that's why, when we're getting here passionate, we're starting to raise our voice, you see us moving our arms, we are not even meaning to physically communicating because we know what it's like to see that drop, that pinhole of light when it is in the darkness. But even on top of that, I'm so sorry, I feel so the very first thing God did, he created the heavens and the earth. And then he said, let there be light. My dog, he does the greatest work in the dark.
And I have always said, and I repeat this, that people grow the most and people learn the most when they fall down. When you're down, when you'll see your real friends. It's when you'll have to work your hardest. It's when you learn your greatest lessons. It's when you'll come back your strongest because you have no choice. You either lay there or you get up. So anyone that's about something is going to learn their most on the journey up. And that's what life is about. If you get knocked down 9 times, you get back up 10.
Hop up.
We took a whole left turn, but it's okay. I'm glad that all this came out for people to hear all this. And this is what I thought that this would turn into. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on. So let's continue on with the journey of the mind, the body, and the spirit. About 6 years ago, you had a transformation in your physical journey. So you were struggling with some health issues and some things going on, and you were pretty overweight.
Yeah.
So About 6 years ago, you decided to change all that and get yourself in really good shape.
Yeah.
Explain that journey to us of where you was at, what made you decide to do it, and to what's got you in the shape that you're in now.
Yeah, man. So number one, what inspired me, my wife started going to the gym. It inspired me. And I seen her just, and to correlate, and I know that you know this, you don't have to be ripped to be healthy. A lot of people, miscommunicate the two, and I know that's not what you were saying. But the thing was, I was not only overweight, I was unhealthy. And my wife, she started going to the gym. She starts losing weight, and it's not even just the weight she starts losing, but I see some of the depression. She's losing that too. It's falling away with the calories, and it becomes addicting. Just watching her be happy, and I'm like, man, what is this joy that because here I am, dude. I'm trying to grasp onto anything. I was the dude. I'd have yanked her down if she would have reached for me. Thank God she went out on her own and took that step of faith I was talking about. But dude, right before the gym for 2 years, every single day for 2 years, I was having panic attacks. And I was so physically, mentally unhealthy. I went to the doctor. I think at the time, man, I was like 29, 30, somewhere in that range, 31. Like either way, I went to the doctors and they told me, man, they're like, look, we're gonna have to put you on some cholesterol medicine. We're gonna have to give you some blood pressure medicine. And then I'm telling them about I feel like I'm gonna die every day, and anything can set it off. And the fear of the misunderstood, was he was so quick to diagnose and treat with medicine, cholesterol, high blood pressure. But just with anxiety, it was just kind of we'll just try a bunch of different things. Like rather than, hey, are you okay? So I go to the gym, man. After 2 years, after the final one was, I had a panic attack for 24 hours straight. Dude, it was the most heart-wrenching. I actually went to the hospital, man, because I feel so dumb, like looking back on that, man. But I had to go to the hospital and for them to hook me up with EKGs, if I even said that right, for them to tell me, no, your heart is fine. Yeah, your blood pressure is a little high. Yeah, I know that. But dude, I start going to this gym. It's a gym called ISI. Which, it's just another little puzzle piece that I didn't realize God was doing for me. Iron sharpens iron. That comes, biblically. Even though it makes sense, you can't sharpen a knife, against, some dirt. Iron sharpens iron. So the moment I stepped in that door, and the first time that I really put in a workout that they offered, I haven't had an anxiety attack since the day before I stepped into the gym. And so I feel like by stepping in there, everything is connected. And I am not smart enough to remember the who's and the what's and what these things are called and how they're connected. But I do know that there is a part of your brain that experiences physical pain and will send those waves to your body, but also mental, verbal, emotional pain uses the very same receptors to send out pain. So when you are dealing with a lot, it physically hurts. Like that's why, you lose a loved one, you miss out on big opportunity. Someone, puts you down. It physically hurts in your chest, your digestion, the whole 9 yards. And the moment I started kind of breaking through that shell of my physical self, kind of working towards that, I feel like that was God setting me up to get strong enough to begin carrying the purpose that he knew I had, which was climbing my big old butt in addicts, dude. I was...
How much weight have you lost?
All together, I think I'm around about 60 pounds down, but also with that, something I started understanding when I didn't invest so much emotion into the actual scale was I was probably about 265, 270, somewhere in that range at the time. But I was at like close to 35, 40% body fat. But now, where I'm at, I'm around about 210-ish, somewhere in that range. and my body fat is, down to the probably about 20%. And that can be better. But the thing is, I'm enjoying the journey. I have joy during this right now because I have a direction to go.
I think a lot of people lose sight. They have an idea of what they want their body to look like, but they lose sight of also being healthy, being active, and choosing to hydrate yourself, choosing to eat properly, choosing to, and the mental's part of it too, because they start to go hand in hand with that, on the way you take care of yourself and you carry yourself. I see a lot of people bang their head against the wall because they're trying one, but not the other, and it's not working out the way they want, and they don't understand that.
Yeah.
But I can give you that advice and tell you that.
Yeah, man.
I can't make you understand that.
I can't want it more than you do. See, the thing is, the doctors couldn't want it more for me. My wife couldn't want it more for me. Nobody else could do it until I stepped into it. And, I went back a year later. I was down probably 10, 15, 20 pounds, somewhere in that range. And the doctor, he was like, man, this is crazy. What did you do? I didn't get into healthy eating at the time. But I did do some portion control things.
Seeking fun in Myrtle Beach? Discover D&D's boat rentals on the Intercoastal Waterway. From family fun days at the sandbar to relaxing on foam pads and barbecues, we've got it all. Unwind with our sunset cruises, indulge in after-work wine and cheese cruises, head down to the boathouse for live music on Sundays, or choose from a variety of specialty cruises. Book now for an unforgettable time on the Intercoastal Waterway.
This is easy stuff here. Don't order the whole large pizza when you're at home by yourself. But also, just showing up every single day.
What if you want something for lunch tomorrow?
Dog, I'm telling you that is a lie from the devil. Get behind these, Satan. Because I used to tell myself that just in case I want some lunch. Dog, there was no lunch. That was dinner, second dinner, and then that one thing I ate when I woke up. But the doctor told me that. He's like, dude, your blood pressure's good, cholesterol's good, and I never took one pill for it. I just got active.
So I have a question. You touched on this too. I'm excited to hear you answer this. People often see the end product and take for granted all the hard work that it took to get there.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? And if you could give them a breakdown, what would you say?
So it's funny because if you would have asked me this even a few months ago, I'd probably had a different answer, man. I would say, number one, thank you for thinking that I made it. Because I'm far from it, dude. I struggle every day, man. Because the vision God gave me, though, was so big that I know I'm not even close yet. I didn't even mean to drop that. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I'll take that. It makes it sound like I'm smart again, but I'm not, man. But I would tell you, just because you're able to see my quote unquote highlight reel as we talked about, and you're comparing it to your blooper or, your success or this success, you weren't there during the crushing period. And we all have to go through a process of being crushed or being pulled on. You think about all the greatest things. A diamond can't even be a diamond unless it's pressed, pushed, all together. And I feel like the last few years of my life, man, I've kind of felt like a bow and arrow, almost, man, where God's just slowly doing this, and the whole time I'm fighting against it. I'm wanting to cry, dude. I'm like, dude, there's no way. I was successful. I thought I did what you said. I didn't know. I'm sorry, but realistically, what he was doing is he was setting me up, because the most accurate you can be when you're an archer is when you have the most tension pulled back and the further you can go. So this whole time where I've been building myself up, where the people, you thought everything was nice, but you weren't there when I was out there walking by myself wondering if my marriage was going to make it. You weren't out there when I was wondering why I was allowing my insecurities to come out on my children. Dog, no dads like to admit that. No, it's hard for a dad. We're prideful. We can be. It's very easy to be, because especially when you've been through a lot and you get anything, when you have nothing, you have anything, that's the most dangerous time, because you actually start acting out of actions of fear because you're fear of losing it. and you've got to get away from that as well.
Watch this. We all got to shovel shit
Yeah, bro.
to get past the shit.
But the thing is, I mean, one person's shit is another man's compost, which then again, you can plant that seed in compost, and it just depends what, your perspective. Dog, like, I mean, and I'm not there yet, but like, man, I want to be real, man. Like the vision I have for my life, it's like, all right, if you want this, you say you want this, come step into faith with me. Come start putting in energy. Start feeding yourself, because I have to feed myself every day with faith and affirmations. These things that you're hearing, yeah, it sounds really nice right now, but when I'm in the shower crying, trying to remind myself that I was chosen, I was marked, nobody thinks that's nice. But I also don't put that on Instagram.
So you just said a little bit ago that when someone's talking, you see almost like visualization.
Yeah, man.
I do that a lot too.
Yeah, okay.
I learn different.
Yeah.
And so I visualize things a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I see almost like a slideshow, and I see almost like a finished product a lot. And so check this out. Mr. Socastee High School.
Hey, man, once a brave, always a brave.
Hey, I'm a Socastee brave too.
Hey, man,
so
there you go.
So you remember where we were at back in them days, back on the beach and back running around, back in Myrtle Beach Resort?
Yes.
Back at Ocean Lakes Campground, back in Surfside and Garden City and Murrells in the Pavilion and Socastee High School.
No, my children, I don't know where I was at. I was helping the community.
You remember them days,
yeah,
right?
man.
Just stop for 1 second right now.
Yeah.
And look where you're at.
Dude, it's breathtaking.
So look, like we're sitting here filming a podcast that's going to be released onto like Amazon, iHeart, Spotify, all that good stuff. And thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people are going to listen to what we're saying and watch this, right?
It's humbling.
And so for everyone that's from this area that has struggled or went through something, and you don't even have to be from this area, you're anywhere and you're struggling, you went through some things. You're listening, you're talking to guys that have been through it. And your situation might be worse than ours, your situation might be better than ours. It doesn't matter, but anything is possible. And right here is proof of it. Yeah. Right here is proof of overcoming. Right here is proof of surviving. Right here is proof of becoming a better version of yourself and being the best you. All right, man. Let me ask you a couple rapid fire questions.
Go for it, man. Quick. I'm ready, man. The way my brain works.
All right, so these are rapid fire. You ready for them?
I think I'm ready.
All right, so we're in the Myrtle Beach area. Let's shine some light on Myrtle Beach, okay? What's your favorite restaurant in the Myrtle Beach area?
Ooh, favorite restaurant. First date night with my wife, we went to Carrabba's, man. I know it's a chain. I get it, dog. Listen, no, I don't care. I don't care.
Area, man.
Hashtag perspective. No, I'm just joking, man. No. I would say, dude, my favorite burger in the world is from Romani's, right off of Forest Brook. Okay. Yo, go get you a double cheeseburger from Romani's. Add some Cajun on it, a little flavor.
No, check out River City Cafe too.
Hoo-dee-hoo.
Where's your favorite place to go out and have a good time with the family?
So for us, man, the beach, man, right to where it all began for us.
Messed up my next question. My next question was, what's your favorite beach to go hang out with the family?
Dude, so no, I got you. My wife and children's favorite beach is Myrtle Beach down by Spring Maid, because they're into shark's teeth. They're constantly looking. My wife's got a jar full of them. For me, it's Surfside, man. That's
what's
where
your favorite high school in the area?
Favorite high school? Socastee. I see you. All day, every day, man.
What's your favorite heating and air company in the area?
You're looking at them. No, I'm joking. No, man, but the thing is, though, I also have to throw out some praise and some honor there, because there were other AC companies that gave me a shot, that took a chance on a kid that I didn't even. So I went to Socastee. My dumb behind dropped out my senior year. It's real talk, but with that and through that, I mean, they gave me a chance when I had no education, man. I learned on the job. So all those companies, who you are. I'm not going to call you out. I appreciate y'all.
Woo!
Hey, man.
Give me 3 local businesses to support.
3 local businesses. Let's go ahead with Exano Pressure Washing.
Okay.
That's my boy Sean Mishy. That's my best friend in the world.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Mr. V's Dryer Vent Cleaning.
Okay.
That's Kyle Vermeer. I appreciate you, dog. Always there with some wisdom. And the third and local, It started out local. So I'm going to say, come work out with me at ISI, man. Come get a little taste of what it's like for other people to want better for you than what you even knew was possible.
Did this man just come on my podcast and snub my business?
What did I do? Hey.
He didn't even mention D&D Holding Company. So
Okay.
I'm going to do it. Go to dndholdings.net and you can handle all your real estate rentals and renovations business.
Hey, man, we'll do it. No, but also, man, I didn't even get a chance, man. I did want to honor you, man, because, dude, you don't understand. Like, I like to be a little dramatic sometimes, if you haven't noticed, right? But I like to look on the grand scheme of things, man. If you would have never stepped into whatever it was that you stepped into when you're going through, your process, dude, think about it. All the red lights you got stopped at, all the things you had to do, all the people you met, all the workouts you did, all the extra time you spent on this when you shouldn't have, or when you showed up early, you did all these things. All those things, all those moving parts that had to happen for you to call some Cool Beans company that you never even knew of to come in and work on your air conditioning. Dog, like you gave, that thing, I believe it's not an accident, and you've definitely sharpened me since I met you. I appreciate you. And I told you this off camera when I first met you. I said, I walked into the place that you had just remodeled, one of your places. Mm-hmm. Hands down. Like, I was like, man, if all these places look like this, there'd be a lot of better things going on. Dude, but it also makes sense now that I know you, because there's no detail left, unchecked. And also, you're also, as a leader, you do all those things. You're also humble enough for someone to go, hey, Larry, I just want to let you know, like, I don't know if you saw that. You're like, no, dog, I didn't. I appreciate you. And those are just the small bits of character that I got when I first met you. So, whatever business it is that you have, just knowing that your character is involved in it, dude, you better get me a t-shirt. I'll wear it, homie.
All right, I'm gonna make him my new official hype man. He just got hired, so he's got a new part-time job.
Let the money flow. I'll take it wherever I can get it.
So give us the coolest thing about living in the beach area, man.
The coolest thing about living in the beach. Man, it comes back down to the people, man. Like, dude, I love the people. Like, it's something that's in me. I mean, it doesn't mean I can't get annoyed with the people. People get annoyed with me. I'm not so self-righteous, but it's always going to be the people for me, man. It's the people that they understand what Myrtle Beach. I mean, Myrtle Beach is almost like our lot. Some of the things we explain in our lives. It just started out as this little old beach town, dude, and it had to evolve.
It's crazy, dude, what it is now compared to what
so
it
how's
is.
How's this? Think about your business. Think about this in Myrtle Beach. If Myrtle Beach would have waited for the people to come before it grew, it would have never grown into what it was able to handle. So Myrtle Beach is a representation of us, man. We had to build ourselves, get ourselves stronger physically, mentally, spiritually. We had to build those things before we could take on the blessings that were to come, man. And that's what Myrtle Beach is to me.
Tell everybody watching or listening how they could reach you or find you, whether it's a social media handle, a website, an email. How can they contact Cool Beans Heating there to take care of all their heating and cooling needs?
Yeah, man. Number one, you can just start off by texting or calling 843-907-3316. That's my cell phone number. So when you call, you're getting me. You're not just going to be dealing with an operator who thinks they know your situation. No, man, I've been there. I've done it. And quite literally have the t-shirt, so, I mean, I feel that, but also check us out on Facebook. And with Facebook, I mean, with all the negativity that's going, it gave a chance for us little companies. We didn't have the money to throw at advertising. But when you treat somebody like a person rather than an invoice, that'll shine brighter than any amount of ads I can put on. Check us out.
What's your website?
Man, that's coolbeans.com, man. Check us out.
Coolbeans.com. All right, so the last thing I'm going to ask you, man, is the same question I ask everybody when I finish up the podcast to give everybody a chance to give a little bit of wisdom. Yeah. This is the Be the Best You podcast. Yeah. So if you could give anybody watching or listening one piece of advice or motivation, what would it be?
I would say explore the possibility that there's more inside of you than you can imagine. Take time. Listen to what people say about you. And listen, I don't mean, by take it and wear it, because, it's okay to care about what people think about you. It's not okay to allow it to control you. It's just like anything else. It's all about how much you bring in. If somebody tells you that you're angry, go find out why you're angry. Somebody tells you that you have a spending problem, go find out why you have a spending problem. Invest in yourself, because the greatest thing that you have is yourself and your points of view. Like, you have a point of view that nobody else has. And one day you're not going to get the opportunity to share that gift. The richest place in the world is a graveyard. Because dude, think of the amount of treasure and gold and just ideas and visions that never came into fruition because people never invested in themselves before they had to get buried.
Damn. And that is why I asked that question to everybody.
It's real.
All right. So this has been another episode of the Be the Best You podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate the opportunity.
I appreciate it, man. Until next time, everyone, try until you fly.